Hey, Paul. How are you feeling? Great, great. Hey, do you know what the best thing about Switzerland is? Well, I don't know, but their flag is a big plus. Welcome to another episode of the Mighty Code Coder. I'm Rob Fitzgerald, here to make you great and help you innovate. In this episode, we are going to build our database into our database subnet. In the last video, we created our first web page and saved it in our public subnet, webserver01. Now, we will build our database into our private MyDBServer subnet. By doing this, we will be setting up a backend to our web server. To open up our HTML pages and update them every time with new content would be tedious, and working with HTML threatens the accidental deletion of code or a tag that can bring down the whole site. So setting up a database to update content proves vital. When I set up a website, I like to set up the backend piece. I call this piece a mod. MAUD, manage, add, update, and delete. Here is an example. So this is one that I had created for one of my very basic. The backend can be very basic. Remember, we're just trying to get stuff into a database. All right, and now MAUD, okay, so this is a manage, so I can manage all the database. Okay, so if I want to add, I can go down here and I can add a new record. Okay, so I'll add one here. And they're just simple fields that I'll add to. So I'll say, welcome coders to my YouTube channel. And then I hit submit. That data is getting put in a database. Okay, so if I go down here, you could see that I have one right here. Welcome coders to my YouTube channel. Okay, now I can update it because, see, I didn't capitalize my. So I'm going to click on this and I'll open it back up and I will capitalize. Let's call it ours because it's really everyone's, right? So welcome to our YouTube channel. I'll hit update record. And now I'll go here and you see that record is now updated. Now, if I had a front end web page that's picking up this data, every time someone would come into my website, it would pick up the new data and put it up there. So the last part is delete. So I could go ahead and delete this. Okay. So if I go in here and just hit delete, so it deletes records. Okay. But it's a nice little system and it's just a web form that's on my web server. To better demonstrate this, let's cool down, Paul, and let's go to the board, okay? Okay, so this is what we have so far, our VPC. We're now going to build a database. Now, remember, we put a website in here, and remember we just had it said hello world or welcome home. All right, now we're going to put a database so that this web page can go in the back end, drill out the data that we want, put it on the website, send it out to the public. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to make this smaller here so that I could add it in here. Okay, so this is my DBS security group. Okay, something like that. I forgot, but anyway, so it's going to come in here, and this is now going to be my database. And I'm going to call this database I never leave myself enough room, so I'm going to call it a coder DB. All right, so the information from here is going to be extracted, I guess, through here. You know, the the information people usually use in the back end, the language they usually use, they might use a PHP, or in the case that I just showed you up on the board, I used an old language called ASP that turned into .NET. And I never made the transfer to .NET, so I'm still in ASP land for those that know active server pages. Okay, and so that's what we're going to do, and we'll show you how to do that now in Amazon Web Services. Okay, so we'll have a whole entire web server with a website, with a database connected. It'll be a dynamic website. Okay, very good. Let's switch back over. All right. So this is what we had done with the back end of the South Hills website for many years. Every part where just think about the yearbook, all the data that changes in the yearbook. Anything that changed on the website would have a MAUD to it, and then we'd let the kids be able to log in. Now you can see there's no login for this one, but we actually had a login. The kids could log in and update the information, whether it be a teacher's name or sports or just a story that we had on the front page. It all went through a MAUD. That makes sense? All right, so let's go into AWS. And believe it or not, in order to start this, let's start not in the database. Let's actually start in the VPC. Make sure the VPC is set up, okay? And remember the VPC I said on the board, I had to create a security group. Actually, I did have the security group. I had to make sure the database went into security group. But we have to allow that database to be seen by another security group. We got to allow it to be seen by our public security group, okay? So I'm going to go to security groups, and I'm going to click on MyDBSG, and I'm going to edit some inbound rules. All right, so it already had a MySQL Aurora. That's what we were setting up, but I want to add one more. So I'm going to click on Edit Rules. All right, and I'm going to go here and hit Add Rule. And I'm going to click down here and find another MySQL. All right, and I'm going to actually let a security group come in here, which is going to be my public security group. All right, so if I type in SG, you'll see that here are the security groups. I will let my WebDMZ come and visit it. Okay, so there you go. And then I will hit Save Rules. All right, so that gets my VPC ready. I'm going to close it, and that is ready. Now let's go ahead and create the database. All right, so if you go down to databases, it's RDS. This is called Relational Database Service. Makes sense because all these are services with AWS. So we will create a database. And the database we're going to create is a MySQL database. Believe it or not, in the day, I used Microsoft's Access database. The one we were using, the one before this one that I showed you, I'm actually using a MySQL in this one. Okay, so, all right, so let's go back here. MySQL is what we'll use. Okay, and let me make this a little bit smaller so you guys can see this more easily. Let me set this up perfect. All right, so something like that and that. All right, and let's scroll down. So I'm going to keep that version of it. All right, I'm going to switch this to dev test, okay, because we're just going to develop and then test it. Here's where I give it the name, and so I'm going to call it I'm going to do all lowercase, a coder 1. It wanted alphanumeric. All right, I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to have just paste that name in for the password, and that's not very secure, but I'm just going to do that just for this instance. All right, we're going to actually make this a burstable, okay, with a T2 micro. And as I go down, everything else can stay the same. I am going to, let's see, enable storage autoscaling. I'm going to actually turn this off, okay? Let me see if yeah, so Okay, so I'm actually going to leave that. Everything should be the same there. I'm going to create a multi-AZ deployment. This is great because if you ever lose the database or one's hung up, it'll go deploy in another zone, and you will save it. It says right here what it's going to do. Okay, provides data redundancy, eliminates freezes, this, that, and the other. Okay, so then this is the VPC it's in, our coding VPC. And then if I add additional connectivity configuration, all right, I will go in and not make it public. Okay, I don't want it to be public. Or actually, I do want to make it public. We definitely want the public to hit this. Okay. And actually, no, I'm struggling with that, right? You don't, that's secure. You don't want people to, you want your public web server to get to it, or pages, and you want the public to get to that. And remember, we're going to have that back end dynamic ASP pages or .NET pages that are going to do the stuff in the back end and talk to your database, but you don't need anyone else touching your database. So you say no to that. Almost blew that one. And then we're going to create a security group. And the security group we're going to use is MyDBSG. Okay, I'm going to clear the default. And then let's see, what else do we want? In additional configuration, we're going to go ahead and remember, you got to name it or it won't even make this thing. So name it the same. I can just paste it still in there. All right. And then I'm going to uncheck enable enhanced monitoring. This will be too expensive. Okay. So we'll get rid of that. And then everything else looks good. I think I'm going to leave everything else the way it is. And bring this up closer so you can see it. And then I'm just going to basically hit create database. All right. So now I created a database, and this is going to take a little while to propagate. So you'll see that it is current activity. It's still creating. See that? Or that? It's still creating. And it'll take a little while to open this up and create. Probably about, it says database might take a few minutes to launch. Okay, so you can't get working with it right away. Okay, but what we could do is we could actually make sure that we have it written correctly up on the board. Okay, and maybe it'll be back when we get back up. Okay, so what we just did was we made sure that this web DMZ can come in and talk to this. Okay, remember that is going to be the security group that can come in and open up this database and get to it. And it's really going to come in here, crunch data, and we're going to have some kind of website. The one thing I haven't shown you yet is a website that, how does the data get put on a web page and then sent to the public? We have not done that yet, but we will do that in future. But now I just want to show you that we have a website that's public. It could go in and talk to our private database. We have the database in there holding data. And then it could create these pages, whether it's a PHP, ASP, or .NET page, and then send it out to the public, okay? So this is getting quite convoluted, but really exciting that you can create your own dynamic database in your own web server. Really cool for the amount of expertise you have. Amazon really abstracts this to make it possible for you at this point. Okay, so that's what we're doing. And in the next video, we will show you how to propagate a page and then send it out there. Let's go back. All right, so if you look at that, it's not quite done yet, still taking its time. But now there's a database in your private subnet, ready to store data. Boom, dynamic website is set up. And now we need to create web forms to access the data, modify it, update it, or delete it. So that does it for this episode. Hope that you enjoyed it. Remember, always trying to make you great and help you innovate. So until next time, What, Paul? Oh, yeah. That's right. And if you have any questions, you can leave comments below or go to the website at www.themightycodecoder.com. You could email me too over here. There's my email. Or find me on Twitter at MightyCodeCoder. Thanks for listening.